Welcome to Worth Coin. What if the change in your pocket could secretly make you a millionaire overnight? It sounds impossible, almost like a fantasy told by collectors to spark excitement. But today's coin proves it might be closer to reality than you think. The 1989 P1 cent coin looks ordinary, feels ordinary, and is often ignored without a second glance. Yet hidden among billions of these pennies is a version so rare, so mysterious, that it has stunned collectors worldwide. Some say it was never meant to exist. Others claim it slipped through the system unnoticed. But one verified example has been linked to a jaw-dropping value reaching as high as $89 million, turning a simple copper coin into one of the most talked-about treasures in modern numismatics. And if that alone doesn't grab your attention, stay with me, because later in this journey we'll uncover even more shocking coins that could completely change how you look at your spare change. But trust me, you won't want to miss what's coming next. Now let's dive deep into the story of the 1989 penny, a coin born in a time when the U.S. Mint was producing billions of cents every year, most of which were destined for everyday transactions, lost in jars, or forgotten in drawers. Yet among that ocean of coins, a few anomalies began to surface. And that's where the story takes a fascinating turn. The late 1980s marked a period of transition and experimentation at the Mint, particularly with metal compositions and die production processes. And while the 1989 penny officially followed the standard copper-plated zinc composition introduced earlier in the decade, rumors began circulating among collectors about unusual variants, coins that didn't quite match the expected weight, color, or strike quality. Some of these pennies appeared to have been struck using experimental planchets, while others showed signs of die misalignment, doubled lettering, or off-center strikes that created visually striking errors. But what truly set the 1989 penny apart was the emergence of an extremely rare minting anomaly believed to have occurred during a brief production window, where a small number of coins were struck under conditions that were never officially documented. These coins exhibited a unique combination of sharp detail, unusual luster, and subtle design variations that only the most experienced collectors could identify at first glance. Imagine someone casually receiving one of these coins as change from a store, completely unaware that they were holding a piece of history worth millions. That's the kind of story that fuels the excitement in the coin collecting world. Over the years, a handful of these rare 1989 pennies have surfaced, often discovered in old collections, inherited coin jars, or even rolls of pennies purchased from banks by dedicated treasure hunters. One particularly famous case involved a collector who had been searching through penny rolls for years, only to stumble upon a coin that seemed slightly different. Its shine, its strike, something just fell off. After careful examination and professional grading, it was confirmed to be one of the rare variants, and the buzz it created in the numismatic community was immediate and intense. Auctions surrounding similar coins have drawn global attention, with bidders competing fiercely for a chance to own what many consider a modern legend. But beyond the technical details and auction excitement, what makes the 1989 penny truly captivating is the idea that such immense value can hide in something so small and overlooked. Think about how many pennies pass through your hands in a lifetime. How many you've spent without a second thought. How many might still be sitting in a forgotten jar somewhere in your home. This coin represents the ultimate what-if scenario, a reminder that extraordinary value can exist in the most ordinary places. And here's where things get even more intriguing. Some experts believe that not all of these rare variants have been discovered yet. There could still be examples out there, quietly circulating, waiting to be found by someone with a keen eye and a bit of curiosity. That possibility alone keeps collectors searching, checking every coin, every roll, every hidden stash, hoping to be the next person to uncover a life-changing discovery. And while you're absorbing that thought, let me remind you, this is just the beginning. There are other coins, equally mysterious, equally powerful in their potential, that we'll be exploring soon, and each one carries its own unbelievable story that might just make this penny look like the tip of the iceberg. But before we move on, consider this. The value of a coin isn't just in its metal or its face value. It's in its rarity, its story, and the demand it creates among collectors. The 1989 penny checks all those boxes in a way that few modern coins ever have, making it a symbol of hidden wealth and untapped potential. So the next time you come across a penny, don't be so quick to dismiss it, because as you've just discovered, that tiny piece of copper could hold a secret worth millions. And if you thought this coin was incredible, just wait until you see what comes next. Next, 2000 1-cent coin. Have you ever checked your coins carefully? One of them could be hiding a fortune in plain sight. And the 2000 1-cent coin is a perfect example of how something so common can quietly become one of the most shocking discoveries in modern coin collecting history. At first glance, it looks like any other penny from the turn of the millennium. Something you might have used for a small purchase or tossed into a jar without a second thought. But beneath that ordinary appearance lies a story that has captivated collectors across the globe, because certain rare versions of this coin have been associated with staggering values reaching as high as $80 million. A number so unbelievable that even seasoned experts initially struggled to accept it. And yet, as more information surfaced and rare specimens were studied, the mystery only deepened, proving that sometimes the most overlooked coins carry the greatest surprises. And trust me, as we move forward, there's still another coin waiting that will push this idea even further. So keep that curiosity alive because you won't want to miss it. Now let's uncover what makes the 2000 penny so extraordinary. Starting with its origin during a time when the United States Mint was producing billions of coins to meet the demands of a growing economy, meaning these pennies were everywhere, circulating through stores, banks, vending machines, and households without any special attention. But within that massive production run, subtle irregularities began to appear, the kind that only the sharpest eyes could detect, including variations in strike quality, unusual surface textures, and rare die errors that created unique visual signatures on certain coins. Among these, one of the most talked about features linked to high-value examples is a combination of die anomalies and planchet inconsistencies that resulted in coins with slightly altered details. Lincoln's portrait appearing sharper or slightly shifted, the lettering showing faint doubling, or the surface reflecting light in a way that didn't match standard issues. These might sound like small details, but in the world of coin collecting, they can mean the difference between a coin worth 1 cent and one worth millions. Imagine a collector sitting at a table late at night, going through rolls of pennies one by one, eyes scanning for anything unusual, when suddenly something stands out, a coin that just doesn't look quite right. That moment of discovery, that spark of realization, is what drives the passion behind coin hunting, and for a few lucky individuals, that moment has turned into life-changing success. There have been stories of collectors who found rare 2000 pennies in circulation, initially unsure of what they had, only to later discover that their coin possessed the exact characteristics linked to these ultra-rare variants. When such coins are authenticated and graded, they often become the center of intense interest, with collectors and investors alike eager to secure a piece of what is essentially modern treasure. Auctions involving similar high-profile coins have drawn attention from around the world, with bidding wars pushing prices to astonishing levels, fueled by the rarity and the story behind each piece. But beyond the headlines and the numbers, there's something deeper that makes the 2000p penny so fascinating. It's the idea that we live surrounded by hidden opportunities, that even the smallest and most overlooked objects can carry immense value if you know what to look for. Think about how many times you've received change and barely glanced at it. How many coins have passed through your hands without inspection, and how many of them could still be out there, waiting to be discovered? That's the magic of coin collecting. It turns everyday life into a treasure hunt, where the next great find could be just a glance away. And here's where the excitement builds even more, because not all of these rare 2000p pennies have been accounted for, meaning there's still a chance, however small, that one could appear in circulation or be hiding in a forgotten collection somewhere. That possibility keeps collectors searching, keeps the community buzzing, and keeps stories like this alive and growing. And while you're thinking about that, let me remind you again, this isn't even the most unbelievable coin in our lineup. There's still one more waiting. A coin with a story so unexpected that it challenges everything you think you know about value and rarity. So make sure you stay with me, because what's coming next might just change the way you look at coins forever. But before we get there, take a moment to reflect on the journey of the 2000p penny, from a simple piece of everyday currency to a symbol of hidden wealth and discovery. It's a reminder that sometimes the greatest treasures aren't locked away in vaults or displayed in museums, but quietly circulating among us, waiting for someone to notice. And if you thought this coin was incredible, the next one will take things to an entirely different level.